Dylan Mulvaney. It's been an interesting topic here lately. Um, a guy that tucks is now the pinnacle of the transgender community, and Bud Light has sponsored with them and or her, and now Nike is going to be doing sports bras. Uh, I think it's a whole mockery of what transgender or even women stand for. So, with that being said, we have a topic today. My name's Ryan,
I'm Justin.
and then we have a special guest, Haven, with us. Welcome to the Maddox Minute. Haven, if you'd like, introduce yourself.
My name is Haven Grant. I was born female at birth, but I identify as a non-binary or transgender individual, male leaning, basically.
All right. Now, Dylan, oh man, it's an interesting character.
Mhm.
I I kind of feel like that is more of, I don't know if it's for publicity. I don't know if he's just wanting to be seen or she. Uh, I mean, you have someone that's transgender that doesn't want to fully commit, but then the theatrics of it all is way over the top. You know, the whole 365 days as a woman. You know, what was it? Day one. He was like, okay, day one, I've already cried 3 times. And the hell does he think a woman is? Is a woman in or a woman isn't like a sensitive, just emotional train wreck. You know, women for the past century have been fighting for rights of their own, you know. And I believe people like Dylan is hurting, and it's causing a setback because now the women that used to have, you know, their own sports, their own, you know, this and that, their own rights for this, you have men that are coming in and trying to ruin what they fought so hard to gain. And by him being so emotional and just over the top with it, I mean, personally, just reading articles after articles, watching videos, actually talking to people, there are more women offended by the way he's going about things than they are supportive. You know, they're like, you know, we're not a joke. There's women out there that can build a car from nothing. They can build houses, they can, you know, do things that people would portray as a men's job or something men can do. But women are tough. And I'm not even, I try to be respectful, but so far you've heard me constantly just say he. Um, I think with Dylan, there is more of an identity, like a personality disorder, uh, whenever it comes to him. Like Jenner, like a true trans, trans, the definition, um, has changed over time, but trans is meaning to replace, to, to completely, it's not just mental, but like right here, by the mid 1970s, both transgender and trans people were used um, as an umbrella term, while transgenderist and transgenderal were used to refer to people who wanted to live cross-gender without sexual reassignment surgery. Uh, so it was something for those that didn't want to fully commit, but mentally felt like they were truly a woman. And he he is what you would see like a Broadway show, or like, I grew up, my mom watching soap operas, the over the top acting that was just so over the top and dramatic that it was bad. And it seems like, what he's going for with his whole agenda. Just because he cried 3 days or 3 times in one day, that was a successful first day for him as a woman. Like, none of it makes sense. So I mean, as a woman at birth, I know you identify, you lean more towards the male aspect. Um, but as a natural born woman's perspective, but also identifying as a male, how do you feel about how, I mean, do you feel like he's over the top, or, needs to tone it down? Or a lot of people are thinking it's just, hey, look at me.
Yeah, I can see how that can be seen that way. Personally, I think it needs to be toned down a little bit. I mean, I'm all for people out there that want to find themselves and be who they are. However, to me personally, I just I am who I am, and I'm not trying to make it my whole personality.
Now, how do you feel like Dylan's been taking hormones, and I wouldn't call what he has, I wouldn't call them breasts by any means. Um, but Nike is now wanting to do a promotion with them, just kind of like how Budweiser did. But they're wanting him to promote sports bras. With what he has, there's not really a purpose that a sports bra would help or not help. I mean, it just uh it would actually make more sense for someone that actually had the augmented surgery, like Caitlin, um, to do that. I could understand that a bit more, but I mean, do do you see to where that seems like it's more of a publicity stunt than it is support?
Yeah, I can definitely see it that way because I don't know if um, Dylan has gone through that transition phase or not.
Medically, no, just with hormones. Doing the medication. There hasn't been the only surgery Dylan has underwent thus far is Adam's apple has been shaved down, some facial reconstruction. Um, the guy has millions of followers, and in that aspect, especially with the Budweiser, with them partnering up, there's money there. Uh, for for surgery, for a good one, um, you can get a breast augmentation for 10 grand. You
Right.
know, I don't know how much the other surgery is. I haven't looked into that, but personally, as a guy, tucking it, that's not comfortable by any means.
It hurts.
Any means. I I I give him that. The dude is going. I mean, he's got to be used to it by now, but still, that's a lot just to you know um portray something. But if you're gonna have the facial reconstruction, why not do the things that would mostly identify you? If you're doing just visuals alone, why don't you focus on the ones that make more sense? Like Bruce, he went all in. He was like, all right, this is what I want, this is what I'm gonna do. He was like, let's get that surgery done. And you know that was 100% commitment. um and I, for everything that, like, my wife, uh her as a woman, she isn't emotional, she isn't a train wreck. um you know I don't know many women that are like that. Like, whenever I think of a woman, I think of a strong person, not someone that, like, I don't understand where he got the concept that, having all these sensitive emotions is what defines a woman. I mean, realistically, nobody can really 100% define a woman. I mean, you see YouTube videos and everything. What is a woman?
Yeah, but also being sensitive isn't just limited to being a woman, or I mean men can have emotions too, and I
Yeah,
know how that whole double standard has gone, unfortunately. Like, some struggle to get mental health resources, and it's that in itself is not okay. It needs to be open to everybody
right.
in that
And
respect.
I mean, you and I, over the past week have, out of nowhere, started becoming really close. And building and working on a relationship, and you know, we spent an hour and a half on the phone the other day and didn't even seem like it.
Yeah.
um I got off the phone and saw the time, and I was like, wow. Like,
Yeah.
my wife was like, who is that? And you know so she was like, man, you were on the phone for a minute. And I was like, it didn't seem like it. And it was great conversation.
Yeah.
But for everything that women have fought for, like, you look at oh Jesus, what's their names? The Williams sisters, Serena and
Venus.
yeah, man, extraordinary athletes. And you have so many more. What is it? Olivia Dunn, LSU. I mean, some use their platform in the ways they choose to use it, but hey, you know what? Get it. And I mean, I see what he's doing, but you know how we've talked about Christianity and all these other things, and pretty much most of our podcast, we've talked about the extremists that make the whole look bad. The few will ruin it for all of them. And it's my opinion, Dylan is the one that's ruining everybody's thoughts on, you know, transgender. And I had spoke on, the umbrella terms that were used, and transgenderist was one of them. Well, I did a definition. I looked it up, what ist means, and it's a follower of a distinct practice, system, or philosophy, typically a political idea or artistic movement. And then it says you can't be born an ist. So by it saying that, it's being a follower, I could agree that you can't be born a follower. I mean, you have, leaders and followers, but I mean, to be a good leader, you have to be a good follower. So I think he is y'all's Karen in the transgender, or in the LGBTQIA plus community. Uh, he he's making a mockery of it all. Like, people that were starting to come around and actually be accepting is now, like my wife the other day. There was something popped up on YouTube. I got a notification, and it was about Dylan Mulvaney. And she's like, oh my God. She's like, I'm so tired of just hearing about this. And it gets to where you're just like,
Tired.
yeah, it's, you know, the what he started out trying to do would have worked better if he took a different approach. But now, if I was to go off of the way he acts and everything else, um, I would think all women are victims. I would think y'all are all weak, and I would have a really just sexist outlook. And it's not my fault. It's just the way he's portraying it. And kids watch YouTube and they see this. And so the strong female figure that, kids should be seeing, especially little girls, are seeing this, and it just has the potential to set y'all back. Everything, that the strong woman, I think feminism uh is both good and bad. I think there's a little bit of over the top stuff, to where some feminists will it's pretty much like how with cops, people will go up and try to instigate something with a cop while phone in hand videoing, trying to, get something started. And, you know, they're trying to look like the victim, but they're actually the aggressor. And, there's been many a times to where Dylan has tried to act like the victim, saying, well, people just won't accept me. And it's because you're degrading women. I mean, I feel like he's doing more harm to women than a man that is in a relationship with a woman that is verbally abusive and brings her down. Because essentially, now all women are just emotional train wrecks. And that's what we're seeing in this world. Y'all need y'all safe space, little safety zone. Y'all are fragile. And I apologize for saying y'all, but I'm just, going with the at birth part at this point in time. Um, I
You're good.
I
So,
just
like, what can people do, to kind of help make a difference with all this kind of stuff? Because it doesn't matter if you were born as a woman and want to transition to a male or vice versa. Everyone kind of, it's kind of a great area for a lot of people. Like, from personal experience, what are some things that you think would be great for people to know to kind of help make things easier, like for all sides?
The best way I can actually put this is to not assume that because I'm talking about the way that I live my life or the lifestyle I live, I'm not trying to change what you believe or what your beliefs are in a particular religion that you believe. I'm just trying to help the person I'm speaking to or the group I'm speaking to better understand where I'm coming from.
All right, so it's not a one for all and all for one kind of thing. It's more per base, like per person kind of experience kind of thing.
Because I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for myself and maybe a few other people that have been in similar situations like me.
Like, what are some of the challenges that you face so far with trying to essentially explain all this stuff to other people and try and obtain some level of respect and understanding, I want to say? Because I know there's some people that are just, it's not right, it's not okay. And then there's other people Like, I mean, me personally, however you're comfortable. Like, it's not my life, not my thing to do. I mean, so I have no reason to judge anyone else for it.
Right.
Adding on to what he's asking, I just want to ask with that, how does it feel to be a man in your experience?
Honestly, I'm still um, getting used to being referred to as a man, because whenever I've had instances like in a restaurant, um, where somebody calls me sir or what have you, I get excited because I mean, most of my life, obviously, I haven't been referred to in that sense either.
Yeah.
But um, I feel like sometimes you guys have it a lot easier, but also,
Mm.
and I'm not trying to poke any nerves, but
Oh no, you're completely
but
good.
anyway,
You're with two people who have the most thick skin ever.
Yeah.
I
You're
realize
not going to
that.
hurt any of our feelings.
I
Now,
know.
statistically, the straight white male is the enemy at this point. Uh,
Yeah,
so I I kind of want to like, can you elaborate on that? Like, I understand it's easier because you know we are who we are. We know we're men. Um, we are what it's been for centuries,
mhm,
and uh, I could see how it's hard because psychologically speaking, this could be a personality disorder. Um, and some people look at it that way. So, I mean, um,
and I realize that some people do, and I mean, for some, it can certainly pan out that way. For others, I feel like if they've done the research and they know what they're getting themselves into, and they know that this, like for certain, that this would make them happier in life, then go for it as far as transition transitioning. Sorry about that. Because personally, on my end, I don't have a desire to go through transitioning at this time, because I'm going to kind of keep details out of it. But growing up, I was through a lot of different things medically, and my body, I don't know if my body can personally handle it.
yeah, we kind of touched base on that a little the other night. Um, I know that's a touchy subject. But one thing that I would like to ask, um, in the scientific aspect of it, with the chromosomes, um, a man can't get pregnant. I mean,
Right.
science can make it to where, a man can carry one eventually. I don't know how a lot of that would work. But I mean, science has came a far way, but
It,
you'll never be able to produce the fluids needed to be able to make a baby. So, um, do you? I guess what I'm getting at is, even if, say, you went through the surgery and physically, you know, you looked and had everything I had. Um, do you think that actually makes you 100% a man? As if, a man has the surgery and the augmentation, would that make him a woman? I mean, I guess what I'm asking is, like, does it make it 100%? Or, I mean, like, how do you feel in those regards?
That's a very good question because I still think about it all the time because I've got friends who have uh fully, at least to my knowledge, transitioned
Mhm.
in one way or another, and um they are happy with themselves at that point. But for me personally, my honest answer is I'm not sure how I'd feel. Like, I mean, I've on the subject of like gender dysphoria, which is being uncomfortable with my body biologically and just in general. Um, that would personally make me feel better, but it's also why I do um, temporary solutions um, to help instead of um, thinking or debating on those late nights whether or not I may want to go through with that surgery at some point or another.
Well, do you think that would make you 100% a man? Or, I mean, I know.
It, physically speaking, I think it's more so 95% because it's like you said, I'd never be able to produce the fluids needed and whatnot.
Yeah, and unless, like, you had like a hysterectomy or anything like that, uh, even with, a male part, if you still had those parts inside, um, it's still possible that you could carry. Um, and um, I was watching a video the other day. I think we talked about this. There was a psychologist, but he he was very well versed in the scientific field, and he identifies as trans. And they were going to do a debate, and he ended up backing out because he knows that he'll never really be a woman.
Mhm.
Um, but in your defense, I believe it's whether I agree with it has nothing to do with what makes you happy.
Right.
And at the end of the day, your happiness is what matters. Um, I mean,
Yeah, like I personally don't care if someone's black, white, male, female, whatever. If someone's happy, I'm happy for them
yeah,
because it's not my life to control. It's not my life to judge. If you do something that makes you happy, like right here, I'm not sure what it's going to show. I got Chinese lettering on my arm. A lot of people are mad. You're white and you have Chinese lettering. It makes me happy.
yeah,
You know, it's a modification to myself that made me happy. If people want to go and fully do surgery to transition and it makes them happy, dude, I will send you all the love in the world. Be happy with what makes you happy.
whenever we first did our actually first did a video, just us talking. You remember my surprise?
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh my God, I thought you
I
were a dude." Like,
I'm pretty sure I probably still have that video in the archives.
man, yeah,
yeah. I mean, like I said, gender. It's a gender neutral name,
yeah, but
and I realize that my voice isn't like high pitched or anything either. Really, I don't
I
know if
mean,
this was. I don't think this was before. Um, you heard me talk. Not sure.
Well, and all we had to
um,
go by was your Discord profile picture as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
um, but no, just your demeanor. I mean,
Dude, I'm not going to lie. You are one of the most confident people that I've seen talking in a server. Yeah, you have some anxieties like everyone else does. But when you speak on something, you are very clear, concise, and very well thought with your words. And it makes it really hard to be able to like, you can usually look at someone's messages and you can tell, a little bit about them. Like you got this anxiety just from messages that we've all had with each other, but then you were also very clear, concise, confident, right up there with your words.
mhm. Yeah,
Just getting ready to say, if only I could apply that to my papers with English.
We're not going to talk about English class right now. That
you
stuff
know,
is
It's
um,
okay. We're all
it's
feeling
got
the same
everyone
thing about
frustrated.
that right now.
no,
That's okay.
seeing what y'all are having to do. I love English. Like English comp, I thought was going to be an easy grade, but seeing what y'all were posting, I'm just like some of it seems excessive. Well, a lot of it seems excessive, and it doesn't make sense. Like they're asking for more than just English comp.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it's a bit much. So
I
I'm
mean,
not
try having a teacher who's only ever held
sick all the
one
time.
lecture.
Yeah.
You recorded a solo lecture last night. Nobody knew. Hey, we're going to move it. Apparently, did a solo retake. Well, we've had one live lecture.
Well, you know, um, there's we talked about this as well. Within the Christian community, there are people that are gay, lesbian, trans, and they believe in God. And there's scripture that talks about it. Like, there's Leviticus, Romans, and Corinthians. Let's see, I have like you okay, Old Testament right here. You should not lie with a male as a woman. It is an abomination. That verse is often cited as to condemn homosexual behavior. Um, if a man lies with a male as with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood is upon them. And it goes on. And that is Old Testament. A lot of people say the Bible contradicts itself. And it does if you are putting the Old Testament with the New Testament. And what separates the two is Jesus. Going by that faith, the Old Testament was the law and what you had to follow. And then Jesus came along, died for our sins. And
Hey y'all, it's Justin. I'm editing this right now, and I just wanted to let you know that I had to go for this next bit, so it's going to transition over to just Ryan and Haven. But thank y'all for tuning in this far. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of this. Thank y'all, and have a great day.
even let's see, I've got this pulled up. The New Testament. For this reason, this is Romans. And this is actually Paul that is writing this. For the reason God gave them up to dishonorable passions, for their women exchange natural relations for those that are contrary to nature. And the man likewise gave up natural relations with women and were consumed with passions for one another, men committing shameless acts with men and receiving in themselves the due penalty of their error. And I mean, you got different other verses that talks about, okay, one last Corinthians. Do you not know that the unrighteous will not inherit the kingdom of God? Do not be deceived. Neither the sexual immoral, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor men who practice homosexuality, nor thieves, nor greedy, nor drunkards, nor revelers, nor swindlers will inherit the kingdom of God. That verse cites a lot of different sins, and in the Bible it states all sins created equal. So me lying to you, telling you that I'm wearing a red shirt is just as bad as going to murder someone. But it's, well, speaking of murder, 10 Commandments, it says thou shalt not kill. That right there, if you look, this is completely off subject, but if you actually look at the Hebrew language, it means murder. So I think it was mistranslated because they have two different words for kill and murder, just like we do, kill and murder, so thou shall not murder is what it is. Like if you kill in self-defense and stuff like that, that's a different story. But with what I was just reading to you, those scriptures, all 10 commandments can be held if you follow just one of the commandments. Love thy brother, or thy neighbor. The thing is, me being Christian, me not, I can't sit there and condemn you. I can't cast judgment. It was just like, there was a woman in the Bible that, committed adultery and they were about to stone her. Jesus said, those of you without sin, cast the first stone. Like, go ahead, throw it. And before you knew it, all the stones were dropped and they were gone. And Jesus was like, where are your accusers? And she was like, well, they've gone. He was like, well, then you have no accusers, and nor do I accuse you, like, go on and live your life. So even though I might not agree with something, or even though I don't know, I think I am wrong if I was to sit there and judge you for what makes you happy. Like,
Right.
my belief is my belief. And I don't feel it's right to sit there and push it onto you. And it's not my job to sit there and try to condemn somebody for what makes them happy. I mean, I'm a veteran with PTSD. I have my own mental stuff. I mean, it's a lot sometimes. So I could only imagine how it would be with, I mean, medical term they're using this personality disorder. I I don't want to say it's a disorder. I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful in any of it. Um, but in a,
And I also can't say whether or not if it's an outdated term. Like if um any sort of gender identity or sexuality based stuff is like outdated in the manual that psychologists and psychiatrists tend to use with diagnosing.
yeah, I've taken both Psych 1 and Psych 2. It's been a while. Um,
But all of that to say, I know you're not trying to offend me or anything, and you're not trying to.
oh no, if it was to come down to it and someone was to have something negative to say, I let's just put it this way, not what you feel, what do you know I would do? Like, if someone was to offend you and be disrespectful and I was around.
I mean, the best way I can kind of put it with how long I've known you at this point would have probably been as simple as telling the person that's pulling something to, you'd basically tell them to knock it off. As simple as that.
That is that
But
is that is the nicest way that could have been put. Like, I couldn't have came up with a nice way to say it. Yeah, I'd literally come on unhinged. And in our Discord channel, um,
I'm also putting
like
it that
I've
way because
stated,
of where we're at
yeah,
too. So
with with the Discord channel though, I've made it 100% clear of what I tolerate and what I don't, and how quick someone can you know not be a part, that band
Right.
button be broken.
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, I just because I don't agree with something, or because of how confusing a lot of it is, with all the terms and everything else, just because I'm not there doesn't mean that I should let someone be disrespectful, or I should be disrespectful myself.
Right.
Um, so that's mainly why this subject was chose, is so I could get to learn more about, you know uh all the terms, but even the mental aspect, the mental strain that it has on y'all. Because I know a lot of, I mean, society as a whole, I mean, y'all y'all are protected, you know, because a lot of people are scared of the backlash that comes from it. People like celebrities are scared to be canceled because of something negative. Comedians can't even be a comedian anymore, just because somebody might get offended. And, you know, it's getting to be more accepted. Um, but at the same time, there's still that stigma. And I could really understand how hard it could be, uh having certain feelings but not knowing, you know um I mean, we touched base on some stuff that, I've kind of, been worried about you as a friend, and that's why I've been checking in on you.
Yeah, and I appreciate that
Yeah.
because, I mean, school's a lot, and even going through what I go through on a daily basis can be hard too, on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah. With I don't even know how to word this. Um, but okay, and you know, we we had done, the podcast that we did that hasn't been released yet. It'll be released by the time this one's released. My allergies are killing me.
It's okay. I
Um,
get it.
but we did the subject of, woke, like the new Mario movie, Kamek, the wizard Koopa
Hmm.
that throws the PlayStation buttons,
Yeah.
whenever Bowser's singing a song about Peach, Kamek puts on a wig and looks like Princess Peach. People got so mad about, oh, the transgender, this and that. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, how many times as a kid did we see Bugs Bunny put on a wig and kiss Elmer Fudd? You know,
Uh-huh.
like it was fun, because it was a joke, like Elmer Fudd was hunting Bugs Bunny and he just tricked him, and you know, I think people look for things to be offended about. I think they look for things that fits their agenda, you know. It it's just like, with race. Racism wouldn't be a problem anymore if people would just leave it alone. Just live your life. Do you worry about yourself? Worry about your family. If you got kids, I mean, a lot of people don't even know what their kids are doing. Focus on that. And,
Mhm.
if people focused more on their kids and their immediate family, we would have a better world. But no, everybody wants to be worried about someone else that they don't even know. Like, yeah, I'm opinionated, highly opinionated, when it comes to Dylan Mulvaney. Um, Only because I feel like he's doing more of an injustice to the trans community and to women as a whole.
Mhm.
Um, so if you're gonna live your life, do it, but don't bring other people down with you. Um, and I that that might actually be more of a mental health disorder in itself, not having anything to do with gender, sexuality, or anything else. Um, but just, being manic and bipolar, because it seems like he's extremely impulsive and just over the top. So uh, it's like there's no chill in those regards. But
Yeah.
with when how old are you now?
21,
Okay.
22 in June.
All right. Yeah, I'll be able to tell you happy birthday here soon.
Mhm.
Um, what age did you come out?
Probably, let's see, when did I leave my previous university? That would have been
Oh,
October
so
2022.
it wasn't
Hmm?
long ago.
Uh, it's probably 2021.
Wow. So post pandemic.
Mhm.
So yeah, you're still just a baby in this.
I mean, I'm not, um, on the gender side, yes, but on any relationship side, because I had an ongoing relationship with somebody within the community for 3 years when we had known each other for more than that. So yes and no to being a baby and all of this still. Um,
But as far as, gender
the
wise,
yeah,
you're
that
still,
yes.
wow, you're still at that sensitive, like, touchy part to where it's still new. Wow. Um,
Yeah,
and
but also I've kept it for more. Well, I couldn't actually put that out there because of me living with my mom, and that I grew up Christian. I still do consider myself as such to some degree, but
you know what?
um,
You
go
the
ahead and
Bi-
ask what you.
the Bible says not to lie. It says not to steal. I mean, I stole a juice from my son the other day. Yeah, I bought them, but I mean they're his. Um,
Mhm.
but nobody's perfect.
Exactly.
I have a problem with language sometimes, especially whenever I start to get aggravated. So my thing is if you believe in God, if that's what you want to believe, do it. I mean, don't feel like
I mean, it's not necessarily that I feel like I can't. It's just hard for me to come back to that because of the way that I was raised with my mom. Because my mom
is she a
would
bit
not,
more on the
she
extreme side?
very much so. But I've tried the route of educating her, but it would always feel like I've been talking to a brick wall.
And see, Jesus, he preached on acceptance. That was a big deal to him.
Exactly.
And forgiveness and loving each other. And some people just they get to a self-righteous point.
Mhm.
And uh, I know I have nothing to apologize for, and me apologizing isn't gonna help anything. But you
I,
know,
I
and
I know that not all Christians are like that. It's like I said, um, they're not all like that. It's just the few that give the bad image to the rest.
and those few, my God, those few always seem to be heard the most.
Mhm.
And no matter what good that tries to happen, just like with your mental health, of coming out and everything being so stressful, and people getting to a point, my kids are home from school, um people getting to a point of being more accepting, then you got the extremist on your side
Mhm.
that get us to a point where, like, oh my, we're tired of hearing about it. Like,
Mhm.
it's kind of like Dylan is y'all's equivalent to the vegan teacher. So yeah.
Yeah,
Um
I can also see that too. So.
yeah. Um we're about to have to wrap it up, but one question I do have, uh
Mhm.
because I was just saying my kids just got home from school. Um there are a lot of schools and a lot of people that feel the need to take it upon themselves to try to educate children that are not their own. Like my 5-year-old, I don't even think I should be talking to him about girls at this point. You know, let him be a kid, let him have fun, just go in and
Mm-hmm.
play. Why am I having to protect him from someone trying to talk to him about um sexuality and gender? you know like the whole Buzz Lightyear deal. you
I
know
remember that.
yeah, like my 5-year-old son, he was, well, 4 then, but he's asking me, why is that girl kissing another girl?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not even trying to have the birds
I
and the
mean,
bees talk with him at that point in time.
yeah, I feel like it's okay to wait on some of those conversations because I can give you another example. Um, my, well, my mom and him aren't married yet, but my to be stepdad had brought home papers, and it basically said, how does your child identify grandkids? Um, and these grandkids are between 2 and 3. So, and look, I'm all for kids figuring out these things, but that is not the time.
You know,
It
even
is
whenever I
not.
was in high school, trying to figure out what I wanted to go to college for. Like, I'm about to be 39 in August, and I'm now going for graphic design and web development. I mean, um, I was gonna go to LSU,
Mm-hmm.
and then 9/11 happened, and I joined the Army instead.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I was going to school. I thought I had it all figured out, and then I didn't. I completely went another route, and there's still times, and I'm almost 40, that I'm, in school. I'm like, do I really want to be a web dev? Like, is this what I'm wanting to do? And to ask a kid that, you remember being a kid and having your
It,
dream job? A lot of kids wanted to be a firefighter, an astronaut, or, you
it,
know,
I remember that, yeah.
I wanted to be Batman. I mean,
I mean, hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
well,
Uh,
no, not at all. But like, seriously, that
but
bringing
ki-
kids
ki-
into it that
uh,
young.
kids don't know yet. It's for them to figure out a little later in life.
Yeah. So it's getting to be a bit too much. Like, you know, whenever I was a kid, I used to be able to go play, and I would come home whenever the street lights came on.
Mm-hmm.
As years went on, Redditors left and right coming out more. I mean, there was predators back then too, but it wasn't like a huge big thing that was worried about. I mean, uh late 80s, early 90s. I mean, I was born in 84. um Now we have to worry about that. Now we have to worry about a man identifying as a woman going into a woman's bathroom where there's a little girl in there, and he might not. That's like me identifying as a toaster. Like, I mean, as a man going into a bathroom with a little girl, and what if they just say they're identifying that way, but they're not? You know,
I'm not going to deny that there aren't people out there that will do that.
well, there's been cases already.
Exactly. But again, I will say it's the few that ruin the group
Yep.
that are trying to do good.
Yeah, it's sad. Um,
And
because those few actually make it more stressful on you
mhm.
and have the potential of ruining your happiness because now you have these people that are doing wrong and bad and using it for their personal gain, and
Mhm.
you can't truly be happy because of it. And
Because
it's not
everybody else
fair.
on the outside can be scared of you, and it's that in itself scares me because I'm thinking about it, and it's just like I'm not out here to cause harm. I'm here to help educate,
Yeah.
or even just be there for someone else to have a friend, because I know life gets hard,
It does. It does.
and sometimes being in good company helps.
Well, I'm always here. You have
Yep.
my number. Um,
Hmm.
you can reach out anytime.
Yep.
And
You've got mine too.
that I do. And anytime you talk to me about anything, that's as far as it goes.
Yep.
So we're gonna have to go ahead and cut this. We went over an hour, which we typically do, but man, he actually stayed on subject.
Yeah.
A lot of times, I mean, you watch, us talk and we bounce around.
Uh
But
huh. Just getting ready to say you're not the only one that does that. I promise.
oh yeah, but everyone, this has been the Maddox Minute, and want to give a awesome and wonderful thanks to our amazing guest today, Haven. Um, takes a lot of strength, a lot of courage. Um, and just appreciate every bit of your time. And as always, we're on every major podcast platform, still working on Apple, but we're also on YouTube, the Maddox Minute. If you would give us a like, follow, hit that bell, and just show us some love. And Haven, again, thank you so much.
It's no problem. It was my pleasure.
Oh, yeah, mine too. Well, until next time, y'all have a good one.